Hey there, happy Tuesday evening. Welcome to the Tuesday night watch talk. Amin snuck in there just in time. I am Bobby Legs. I am your co-host for this evening, and I am joined by some of the greatest guys I've ever met. Not just in the watch community, but like my whole life. I mean, like, I'm gonna be 50 in a couple of months, and I can't say, I don't know if I've ever met three finer gentlemen than we have this evening. I sincerely mean that from the bottom
That's a
of
lot
my
of
heart.
praise. That's a lot of praise. I mean, you three, yes, me, no.
No, no, no. Dib, you are wise beyond your years. You can grow way more facial hair than I can. It's admirable. It's admirable.
Dib
Like
is a piece unique, one of the best for sure.
one one of the old timers, and he's only 32, right? And he's already Hall of Fame caliber. Um,
He looks
anyway,
32 today. Last
he
time he looked, 22.
Oh, Dib. Anyway, Dib, what do you have on wrist tonight, man? What's going on?
Uh,
How are you?
Wearing my PAM,
Oh, very, very nice. Yeah, yeah.
it's quickly turning into my number one diver. Like again, like diver is subjective for a pen, right? But
Sure, sure. Why is that? Because I mean, I know that the heritage of Panerai, as far as I understood, is that it was a dive watch for the Italian Navy, right? And but it's not like your typical. They do have the submersible, right? That has that timing bezel, but the Marina, the Luminor specifically. I mean, like technically a dive watch, but it feels like just like a big field watch, right? Or no?
yeah,
Yeah,
I think the lack of like indices or even markers
yeah,
kind of defeats the purpose. Like point of a dive watch, right? It doesn't
right,
have a dive bezel. But again, like I love this debate, and like
yeah.
people who know me know that I don't keep watches for a long time. So this will be a year in 2 weeks.
Wow.
That's like like 100 in dog years probably.
Yeah, yeah. I've had my Panerai for about 16 years, and Amin, I think you've had yours even longer, right?
No, not that not
No.
long,
Oh.
not that long. No. I don't know how long I've had it for, but I think it's probably like more like 10.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amin. So you're up. What do you got on wrist tonight?
Where my um Glowmaster.
Nice.
Yeah, Master today.
Ah, it's a beautiful watch. Two
Thank
tone,
you.
right?
Yeah.
Mm. I saw that Delray has one up. Not a two tone.
Yeah, yeah. The
Um,
great owl.
Great Owl.
Yeah, I like that one.
Um, for about 6,500, I think.
Yeah.
So, Chaz, how you doing, sir?
Hey, Rob. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Uh, Hall side of
Oh
the moon.
yeah.
Mm, what a great watch!
I love that watch.
Such a great watch, right? Mm,
Love
mm,
it.
love it. I got the Gerard Perregaux Seahawk 2,
Nice.
the first luxury
Cool.
watch I've ever bought, and I'm wearing this for a reason to go with our topic tonight. But before we jump into that topic, let's say hello to the chat and get through it. Try to get through it as quickly as possible and to not to annoy the intern. There's 911 Dan. How you doing, sir? Peter C is here. What's up, Bill K? Hey, Thomas. Good to see you. Hope it's not too late over there across the pond. Bruno is here. What is up, Bruno? Yeah. I'm sure Dan is going to let us know he got something in today. So let's congratulate Dan as soon as he mentions it. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, but I'm sure he will. Wilson is here. Joey B is here. Hey, Brownie's here. What is going on? There it is, the 40 millimeter Longines Spirit Titanium. Dan quietly amassing
Dan's on a
one of the
roll.
one of the biggest titanium collections of watches that I think I know. I mean, I don't think anybody comes even close that I know of.
Dantanium.
Yeah, Dantanium. We're gonna change the metal, the name of the metal.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve Time Hill is here. How you doing, Steve? BJ, what is up? What's going on? Deech is here. Hey, Deech. Good to see you. Sympathy for the bezel is here. How you doing, sir? Doxa day 14 for Bobby Watch
Wow.
Medicine. Um, Ken Spear checking in from Pittsburgh. Hey, Rob, Mountain Standard Time is here. How you doing? Bobby saying, hey, is that Giancarlo's friend Dib on the stream?
Yep.
Sure is. Roar the Tiger is here. How you doing, Roar? Justin R. strapped in. He is here. Hey, Kevin S. is here. Good to see you, Kevin. Um, Kevin is saying, I'm going to stay under for about a half hour or so. We good. Okay. Bunch of killers on the panel. Good evening, all. Yes. And Amin's already checking out watches to buy. Look at him, Scott Darlos over here. Damn, my oldest watch is 3 years old, which is my Globemaster. Very nice. Paul is here. What is going on, Paul? Mr. Godiva. Delray has that one too. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Delray is it's not a two-tone though. Mez9 is here. How you doing, Mez9? Um, Underachieving Watch Collector. What is up, man? Good to see you. William Burdine, hello from Valparaiso, Indiana, wearing vintage Omega Seamaster. Very nice. Dib, change the batteries on your smoke detector. Is your smoke detector going off, Dib? Is it? I didn't even hear
Yep.
it.
I didn't hear that.
Okay. Wayben, greetings all. What's going on? How you doing, Wayben? Wayben also, I think, picking up something new recently as well. Well, anyway, so now that we got the introductions out of the way, the main topic this evening, we can obviously talk about other things as well, and hopefully you guys can chime in with meaning the chat. Kevin S. Had this great suggestion for a topic, and I'm sure we've have talked about this before, but it's always good to rehash and talk about these things, I think, and it's good therapy. But what is the one watch, right, that got you into collecting? Now, um, we all may have one something in specific or not. I do, but I have some backstory behind some of it. So I'll just kick it off this evening with it. And so like my first luxury purchase, and I have it up here. It's the GP Seahawk 2. I don't think they make these anymore, but you can see that you can buy them online for sure. They're still out there for sale, and a lot of them are in great condition still too. I bought this around 2005. Now, just a little bit of a backstory. I think I've always been a collector, and when I was very very young, I remember as many young kids in America had did, or I presume that they did, they started collecting baseball cards, growing up. And that's what I did. And at first it was, just to make sure that you complete the set for the year. And then maybe, for me, I tried to find all the rookie cards for my favorite baseball players. And then it reached out to other sports. And I collected other things when I was a kid, comic books to a certain extent. But it was mainly baseball cards, right? So I had that collector in me, and then eventually, when I started working in part of it, working in the finance field at some point, I was surrounded by some people who had some really big hitting watches, especially in the early 2000s. A lot of it was Frank Muller's and Panerais at the time because that was like the hot watch, and of course knew about Rolex, knew about Tag Heuer because of all the marketing that they had done, especially Tag Heuer in the 90s and Rolex as well. And I got into that kind of scene, right? And eventually picked up this watch. And around that time, I also became very friendly with a couple of guys who one lived in the same apartment building as I did, and the other one lived a block away, who were watchmakers. And hanging out with them, going out and to happy hour and on the weekends with them, some of that enthusiasm that they had for watchmaking and watch collecting rubbed off on me. I ended up picking up buying a Panerai from one of those guys and they both were working for Richemont at the time, and they were watchmakers for Panerai and Cartier. And so I was able to pick one up from one of them, a Panerai, and then got into that whole debacle with the Gotham Tourneau Gotham chronograph, which is another story. Anyway, which actually kind of like almost like killed watch collecting for me eventually, and then I got back into it. But I have to give credit a lot of the collecting part and the interest in watchmaking with this one. And I bought this watch and I didn't even know much about watches. I just knew that this one dude that I knew had this same watch, and I was like, I want that watch. I think it looks cool, and I feel like I got lucky. As Girard Perregaux being a brand with a lot of history, and so I got lucky with this one, and it's remained, and I still have it to this day. And I had a half a thought of it a couple of years ago, or a year and a half ago, of selling it, and my Mrs. Liz put a kibosh on that because she did end up spending a lot of money on a strap and a clasp for it. So I kind of felt guilty about selling it, but I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't, because this is always going to be a reminder, and it's a watch that's never. I mean, I could honestly say that this watch is never going to leave my collection, and actually mean it, because the money that I invested in it 17 years ago, like I don't even like it's not even an issue anymore, right? Like it's not even like I'm not trying to recoup that back if I had lost interest and wanted to sell it, right? So it doesn't even matter. It's like a you know I like this picture that Louis C.K. Once put together about, like, it's like a car that's in a field in the backyard and it has got weeds growing out of it. You don't even see it anymore, right? So this watch is almost, at times I don't even see it anymore. It's just like it's always there. So that's how I got into watch collecting. Dib, was there any one watch or any kind of like scenario that got you into this hobby?
Honestly, yes and no. So I've always worn a watch, like ever since like I was in class 4 or 5. They were all very very cheap quartz watches. Then when I came to the US, it took me 3 months to save for this watch.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Casio Edifice,
Mm.
like $90 maybe. I wore that for 6 years straight.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, like I'm earning money. I'm done with my education. I decided to, go up. So what did I buy? I bought a Burberry chronograph.
Mm.
And I remember asking the guy at the mall, "Hey, what are these two buttons?" And that's about it. Then 2019 came along. My student loans are done, so I decided, all right, let me buy a Swiss watch. And
Yeah.
the first watch that I got was a Tissot Powermatic 80 Laloc. Now
Okay.
I returned the watch because it did not fit me right, but that's what started my watch collecting journey. Then
Mm.
I met TGV's YouTube channel, which kind of ruined me. Like at that point, it was the best. I had all the TGV
Yeah.
recommendations: SARB 033, 035, 017, 089.
Mm. Mm.
I did not have the Flighty, the Giugiaro chronograph,
Yeah.
all of a
Yeah.
glycine which got
Yeah.
stolen in like 2 days. Then I'm like, like that's how it all started. But I think the first mechanical watch that I got, which I thought was a lot of money at the time, $400, was the Laloc. You know, really good, value for money dress piece.
Excellent. Excellent, man. Let's you know, when you said you got into a TGV in those days, like there's almost like a part of me that misses that early part of my collecting where like everything was new, right? And yes, I definitely fell into some pitfalls, right? Following some of these U10 content creators, and kind of being part of like the sheep that follows a herd and gets a Saab 033, which is, by the way, is a great job, a great watch. The SKX, all the same TGV type watches, the Squales, um, but it was fun, right? It was fun discovering, and now like I feel like I'm kind of honing in. It's still fun. It's just different, before like it was the unknown. Now it's kind of like I know the deal, and there's a little bit. It's almost like when you start dating someone, right? And it's great in the beginning, right? And then because it's new, and then you try to kind of capture that feeling, 6 months, 12 months down the road, and it's never the same. It's great, different, but not like that new dating feeling, right?
Honestly, I like being a know-it-all, at least in my whatever I know. I
Yeah,
don't really care for what I used to be 4 years ago. Like when it comes to watch collecting, I know what I want now because at that time I was buying anything and everything that ticked,
yeah,
or like it's just it was a good journey, but sometimes I feel if I revisited the journey, I would have done it a little differently.
yeah.
Maybe gone up a few rungs faster, maybe.
Hmm. Hmm.
But again, like it all depends on the individual, right? I mean, I now think that I have a good understanding of what type of watches I like. Again,
Hmm.
you guys all influence me in my choices. Like I never would have considered a Breguet before.
Hmm.
Armand's tradition and me seeing the watch in person kind of pushed me over the edge. So there's definitely that. Those are the little joys in like collecting when you discover something new.
Yeah.
Like when you know a lot, or I'm not saying I know a lot, but I'm saying whatever I know, if I know something more or something which interests me. Like I used to think Oris was the best brand in the planet. Now I
Oof.
don't even want to touch an Oris.
Right.
Thank you, Sanjay and Bobby Legs.
No, I mean even before that, like because I kept thinking,
Mad
I
respect for Oris.
I remember going to the AD and like I was
It's
after
not
the
for me.
Aquas. So
Yeah.
at that point, the 39 mil and the 41 mil was there. Sorry, 43. I'm like, why don't they make a size in between? I'm like, should
Mm.
I just like why don't I just skip 2 rungs? And then I got the Omega C Master. I'm like,
Yeah.
forget Oris.
Yeah. Look, great respect for Oris. It's just not for me. So I just want to iterate that. Just caveat what they've
Yeah,
said. Yeah.
it again great brand. It's
Great
just that
brand.
it doesn't fit into my
Yeah.
collection philosophy. That's all.
Yeah. And tell us about your kind of experience with this.
There's not one watch,
Mm.
um, but there was a time when I don't know. I can't remember how it started, but I started watching YouTube videos.
Yeah.
TGV may have been one of them, and others. I definitely watched them. I just don't know if
Yeah.
it was at the beginning. I got one. So of the watches, there were a bunch of different sites I was reading and watches I bought, and I'll just single this one out, even though it's not really necessarily like the one that turned things for me. But I remember reading this review from Worn and Wound about the
Mm.
Zen 556i in 2014, and then getting the watch. I don't know if it's sharing my thing. Um,
Yeah. It
Getting
was
the
a.
watch, and it was one of the. This is my
Mhm.
wrist, and this is
Yeah.
April 2015. It was one of the first watches I remember getting really excited about.
Mm.
That
Hmm.
the quality was like a step up from what I was used to getting, and I could tell it, and it looked good, and I had fun changing straps, like lots of different straps. Um, but there were a few back then around the same time.
Well, I guess we lost Amin for a second there. Um, so let's go with the chat. See what the chat has to say.
Good time. Good time.
Well, we'll wait for Amin to come back. Paul's saying in 1988, the McLaren MP4/4 A Sienna and the Tag Heuer. What did you pulled the Bobby legs?
Like old times. Um, Kick myself out. Anyway, that was one watch. There were probably 4, 5, 6 watches at the time. I had an SKX 173, which is a cool
Yeah.
Seiko, and had a Stoa chronograph back then. I mean, there are
Hmm.
a bunch of watches, but that Zinn was one of the first ones I remember being excited about, and I could feel that it was better quality, you know. And
Yeah.
but then there were milestones like along the way. Like when I think I got a sub in 2017, and it felt like it maybe my expectations were built up too high. When I
Mm-hmm.
traded that watch for the Breguet Marine, that's like definitely another turning point, as far as my finding my excitement.
You took a turn to toxic,
It took a
Amin.
turn for the toxic. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a good.
I mean that Brigade Marine is fantastic watch.
And I got a lot of
That
money
is
back on that trade. The
yeah.
the, the difference between so it's you always like people say, oh, you'll regret it or you're going to lose, value. And actually, the value is the same as
Yeah.
you know what I mean? The difference between how it's held up is
Yeah.
considering how much money I got. Anyway, a couple of the different watches come to mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Chaz, let me just run through the chat a little bit before I jump out to you there. Women says it was a Folsom. Um, uh, Bill Spruce, tough to complete a set of Rolex. Oh, that's true. That's true. Unless you're the King Wilson, then you could do that. Way Benson, it was a Filson Shinola Field Watch. Don't judge. It was on sale just as lockdown was. So no judgment here. I went through certainly a phase in the 90s where I was just getting Fossil watches or Eddie Bauer watches from the Eddie Bauer store, or Fossil from Macy's. Um, hey, no judgment here. Um, Colin saying tracing the true origins go back to my Timex Ironman. I spent so much time with that watch and loved it. I'm sure many others did too.
Classic.
Classic watch for sure. Um, what do you guys think of the Panerai Navy SEAL, the one with yellow border hands? I don't know if I know that one. I know the Navy SEAL. I guess maybe they have different versions. Dib, are you familiar with that watch?
I love the watch. I don't like the price.
Yeah,
Again, that's almost a complaint for me with most modern Panerais. So it's a good looking watch.
yeah, yeah. Justin R saying I knew about Breitling in the '90s because their marketing campaign was dudes being dudes and chicks. Okay, okay.
I will say long before those watches I showed, there were watches I got excited about and
Mm-hmm.
owned. Like I get a watch, enjoy it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like 2015, 2014 when I became a watch it,
Yeah,
idiot.
yeah.
So it was yeah.
Yeah, no, I got you. For saying good evening, late to the party. Hey, no worries. No worries. Good to see you. In the glow. My grandfather's Elgin pocket watch started me collecting pocket watches. Then I moved on to wristwatches. Oh, very, very cool. Hey, Detroit
Nice.
Spartans here. And he loves the panel. We know exactly who he loves the most, though, in this panel, for sure. Time Hill saying the seed was planted a long time ago on a mission that remains classified to this day. LSPN and redacted. LOL. Funny. My dad had a 34 millimeter gold Rolex. Would always play with it. Cyclops as a little kid. Needed to get a Rolex with a Cyclops when I grew up. Yeah, I think a lot of people that or some people, let me not say a lot of people, but there's a good amount of people that I know in the hobby definitely got the bug from someone in their family, whether it be their dad or grandfather or whatnot, passed along that kind of love for the collection of watching and collecting in general too. Um, I think most folks, Bruce says, regret parting with things more often than not, whether it be guitars, watches, or girls. Yeah, for sure. Um, You mean Dib wasn't rocking a Prez in the fifth grade? Yeah, I'm catching up, guys, on the chat. Sorry, guys. Kenneth Cole Quartz chronograph. Wore that watch for 10 years. Births of both my children, toasting my brother's wedding, and giving his eulogy 3 years later. Gifted to me by my wife, and still have it. Wow, that's some watch, man. Some stories behind that, Joey. Thanks for sharing. Um, My friend collects ex-wives, way more expensive than watches. Heyo. By the way, cool side the other day was in the Acme local grocery store and a clerk was wearing a Squally 1545 hood. The hate comments. That's how you know he's a watch guy. Cool spotting that in the wild. I still want a SARB 033. Me too. I'd buy that watch back. That would be my third rebuy of it. I would definitely do it. But they're just astronomical in price. Um, Dib is contemplating collecting the full line of Islander watches. How did Bruno know? How did he know? Maybe Dib is Mark from Long Island Watch. Last
I
one here before
wish.
we go. What was that?
I wish I'd have more money.
Yeah. Thomas Burnett saying, I got a Seiko 7828-7120 Gen 1 Army Air Force Air Corps helicopter pilot's chronograph off a friend whose dad was a pilot when I was 17 at college. He pinched it from his dad and sold it to me for 7.5 pounds for SIGs. Wow. I would probably sell a lot of things at that age for cigarettes at the time. For sure, I can relate. Hey, Chaz, you have a story behind a watch that got you into the hobby, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. First of all, like a lot of people, I grew up liking watches. Like Colin, I remember getting a Timex Ironman and wore that thing for years. I have to say, the thing that I have to give some credit to the Apple Watch here for making me really want something else.
Mm,
Because I wore the Apple Watch probably for six years. I was early on the Apple Mac train, and so I mean when it first came out, I got an Apple Watch, really hyped about it. But after wearing that a few years, you start thinking, I don't want to keep getting a new one every couple of years.
yeah.
And I remember getting a Seiko Samurai Patty edition. Anybody remember that watch? It's got the
Mm-hmm.
red and blue
Yep.
bezel.
Mm-hmm.
And I wore that watch. I wore that watch for like 2 or 3 years, and I thought this is going to be but the one I got there, that's the one that kind of got me to say I really want to collect watches. That Tudor with the maroon bezel. I remember seeing that on a YouTube video or somewhere, and I thought, man, that's the one. If I could ever get that watch, it would be the one. Little did I know when I got that watch, it made me want to get other nice watches.
Mm-hmm.
So, I would say that's the watch that really made me want to collect watches.
Mm.
I still think that's a beautiful watch. I no longer own it. It would have been nice to keep it, but that's kind of not the way it worked out. But I still think it's a beautiful watch. It represents a lot of the things that I think that we love about this hobby. I think it looks nice. I think there's when you work that bezel, you understand the first click. This is not a Seiko.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a Seiko. When you unscrew the crown, you realize this is not a Seiko. This is not an Oris. I'm not putting down any of those others, but there's a different level there. And I've experienced that jump. I think when I went up to the Planet Ocean, I stepped up a little. I think that Planet Ocean's a little bit higher quality, maybe a much better movement, or at least more unique and innovative movement. But that watch right there made me want to collect watches. I loved it. I loved the way it looked. I still do. And it made me want to get other watches that made me feel that way. Something special and you could do this at different levels. I'm not saying you have to spend a whole lot of money, but something about a watch needs to be special if you're going to collect it. You don't want to collect. I mean, I don't want to collect a bunch of Pagani design or a bunch of Long Island watches. you know, I'm not putting those down. If some guy likes those watches, you know, or girl, have at it. But to me, that's those watches like this Tudor, the Smile Dial.
Mm.
It's got a simple ETA movement,
Hmm.
but it's special. At least it was for me. And I know a lot of guys, you know, swim in a lot deeper waters, but that one, you know, it at the time I got it was the most expensive watch I'd bought, and you know, it required some effort. Um, you know, you if you're not used to spending that on a hobby, you start thinking, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Um, but but whether you blame that or give it credit, that's why I'm still into watches. That watch right there.
Yeah. And it's a great watch too, and it's a watch that I certainly covet, and one day hopefully would love to add. Because it is kind of like a piece that you got to kind of get if you're into that Tudor Black Bay. I feel anyway. I feel like it's the OG in a sense that it's the first really desirable one that I laid my eyes on. Anyway, Chaz, thanks for sharing. Let's catch up with the chat because I'm sure there's a lot of contributions here. Mine started with the Victorinox, says Justin. Hey, KR Joy is here. How are you? Paul saying last year he bought a Gen 1 Tag F1. Um, Recently, I liked the one my dad got me. It's the most exciting watch I bought yet because of dad and racing. Um, uh, Detroit's friend, I love the big pointer date. In fact, I own one. Wow. Okay. Hey, James. Good to see you. What's going on? Um, Time Hill, question for our non-wedded family members. What's better, that new woman feeling or that new watch feeling? All right. I mean,
Mm.
Dib, what do you think? Um,
Both have it. Both have their places, I think.
so
Let's not
so
confuse
diplomatic.
V with W. You know.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Uh, Thomas saying, I wore that Seiko Gen 1 for about 15 years. I then inherited a 1950s Omega Seamaster on the Beads of Rice bracelet in 2000 that got me seriously into watches. Yeah, that's a good way. That's a good watch to get serious into watches, definitely. Um, Same cab 90 Swiss Army watch was cool, but my class broke and the crystal shattered on my kitchen floor. All right, there's okay. Undressing, okay. Um, Bill Spruce, I love my Oris Pro Pilot. Will never leave me. My Zin, on the other hand is presently for sale on eBay.
I had an Oris Pro Pilot. So
Oh yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Y- respect for your choice,
I
Chaz.
tried I tried Oris 3 different times.
Yeah,
But I think Oris is a step in the journey for a lot of people.
yeah.
You know, so I get it.
I'm way behind. Joe was like, had never thought Amin would shut up. Scott Tarlow, that watch got me into collecting. Was the Invicta Lupa. Brownie had the Citizen dress watch in the '90s. Bought my first Swiss watch from. Are you right, Alan? Then Omega Seamaster 300p in 2015. Um, that 5561 is a great watch. Still have mine. Detroit Spartan, Cameron Weiss, and Omega got me into luxury watches, but I always owned multiple Fossils, G-Shocks, and swatches. Did look for the Hublot video from me this week. Ah, okay. Fossil was dope back in the day. Cho sighting. Man, I am really far behind, guys. Sorry. Let me just catch up here. My friend bought a Movado gold plated watch at the mall when I was younger, and I thought he was rich with a capital R. Caliber, what's up, man? Had two old Timex Iron Man watches on the shelf with dead batteries. One day I'll have to put a battery in.
Do it.
All right, do it. Yeah. For William, the Tag Heuer Curium with a blue dial was my first my step-up watch. Wore it every day as my only watch for 15 years. Wow. Did you guys? I mean, have anything like that? Like, I mean, I think Dib, you mentioned you wore a watch for like 10 years. Was that you who mentioned that?
Yeah, I mean, I still have that Casio edifice back at home.
Yeah,
I mean, it's beaten up, it's scratched up. Now that's a tool watch, not worn
yeah.
by a tool at that time. Now tool. So
Uh, James saying I bonded with my father over watches a year before he passed. Been collecting ever since. He gave me his yellow gold Rolex day date in his last words.
Wow.
Um, wow. Hey, Sanjay is here. What is up? How you doing, Sanjay? Good to see you. Um, Samurai was my first watch when I got back into watches in 2017. The black dial. Um, Detroit Spartan. I am a Sanjay wannabe. Um, Whatever, Chaz. When I finish my Long Island watch collection, I get a Dakota ring and a real Seiko. Hey, Pepe D's nuts. What's up? I'm in watch groups and guys have 40 Walmart shitters. Better off buying one watch over 40 turds.
that's what
Okay.
I always say. Don't buy Long Island watches.
Um, okay, guys. I am running through these. Detroit Spartan. I tried on an SPV 237 several times before I finally decided to pull the trigger. I wish I would have bought it sooner, to be honest. Bruno saying he's collecting started with Tag Heuers from the early 2000s. My first series purchase was my Tag Monaco. That's a pretty nice series
Nice.
first purchase. I feel like there's a lot of guys my age who are sort of collectors, or who aspired when they first to get their first Swiss watch. It was Tag. And I think it's part of how they campaigned in their marketing campaign in the '90s. Like they were all over the place, and I felt like Tag was up there with Rolex at the time. That was my perception because they did such a great job with marketing. Caliber saying he got an Eddie Bauer watch for Christmas as a kid. Loved that watch. Crown eventually broke off, and that bummed me out a bit, but didn't stop me from wearing it. Still have that watch. Very nice. Okay, you guys are talking about Long Island watches here. Mr. Godiva, my first good watch was a Seiko Tuna from the 80s, 300-meter dive watch from Japan, given to me by my dad. I still have it and wear it once in a while. Um,
Nice.
Question for Chaz and Amin, you have kids who are adults or older, late teens and whatnot. Do any of them have you passed down that watch collecting bug to them, or are they just like, okay, that's what the old man's into, that's his thing. I got my own thing.
I've tried. You know, I've I've gotten each of my kids a watch, and they were gracious and thankful. My I have one son that still wears the watch. In fact, he brought it back to me recently on one of his visits home, and he had messed up the crown and asked me if I could fix it. And of course, I couldn't fix it, but so I just replaced it and told him I got it fixed because, to be honest, it would have cost probably close to what I paid for it to get it fixed. So I just bought a
Right,
new one.
right.
And if I didn't have the heart to tell him, but he does wear a watch. Of course, he started in his career, and he's. I don't know if any of them are going to catch the fever. But I've sown the seeds there. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. And any of your boys.
All three of my kids, I think, are into watches. I think
Oh,
they're gonna all. I think they're all gonna have the bug. My oldest, I gave him a Seiko Kinetic Diver that he wore, like a lot, pretty good amount for a couple of years, and then I got him a Zillos, which he didn't really wear that much. I mean, he liked it, but he didn't wear it that much. And then after his first year in college, I talked to you guys, and I got him a IWC Mark 18, and he wears that thing all the time, all
Awesome.
day and night, college, classes, not classes, everywhere he goes, he wears it. So, and then Philip, he likes watches. He's not
Yeah,
wearing them
yeah.
yet, but he's got a Seiko I gave him. I can tell he likes them. He's definitely gonna someday have the bug, and when he's responsible enough, I'm gonna get him a IWC like Oliver's. And then Isabella, my little one, my 9-year-old, she's got like 4 or 5 watches, like a
Yeah.
little Swatch, a little Looney Tunes, these kind of things. And she wears them to school. She rotates them. She tries to match me, when I'm wearing stuff. So yeah,
Nice.
it's a lot of family fun.
Kevin is saying no surprise about about the Zelos there. Um, Shark watches, Billabong jackets, and Jimmy Z shorts were where it was at in the late 80s and early 90s, Justin says. Oof. Paul wore tags for a good, wow, like 20, 22 years there. Interesting. Sanjay, my Casio 90F91W was my first watch. My dad bought it for me when I became 10 years old. My dad serviced his own mechanical watches, and I yearned for one at the time. Ah, very, very cool. Remember jams? I do remember jams. I try to actually forget that I remember jams. Um, yeah. Anyway, my son, I've given him a couple Casios. I mean, he kind of likes those, and he doesn't like wear them yet. He just keeps them on his little bookshelf. And so, like, when there's like a G-Shock or G-Shock Casio that I have and I'm not wearing, I just give it to him. He likes to collect things. I think he has that bug. Now it's like with like certain toys, Hot Wheels cars. Like I mean, I had that too when I was probably his age. I had a lot of Hot Wheels cars. Like he's into that, and he's into like putting them in order, size order or color order, and so I think he's got that collecting bug. Whether he lands on watches or not, I don't know. But it's kind of cool. Um, Bobby saying I was in Boca in 2015 and was drawn to an inky black Omega Seamaster on display. Funny enough, the silver Snoopy 2 that no one wanted from the boutique at the time was my second watch. Wow, pretty nice 1-2 punch there for watches. Don't you think, Dib? That's a pretty good start to collecting.
See, and that's what I wish I had done.
Yeah. Skip
Like
skip skip all the Seikos and
skip all the fluff and directly
yeah.
go for the good stuff.
Yeah, but we learn, right? We learn something about that. I mean, like I get it. You buy the fluff. Um, Really, like the only part of it that sucks is that you lose money on it when you sell that stuff, right? So, but fortunately, the fluff is inexpensive anyway, and so
Definitely.
yeah. And so when you lose money, okay, it's not. Look, I mean, nobody wants to lose money, but it's not as hard of a hit as if you bought a Torno Gotham Chrome for around 4,700 and then sold it like a few years later for $500. I mean, that's a hit, right?
That's a big hit.
That's a big hit. That's a big hit. Um, let's see here. Zumba's pants were still popular at Bill. Are still popular. Joey, Zumba pants are popular in all NFL stadiums. I think still. Whether you go to an Eagles game or a Giants game or a Jets game, maybe it's a Northeast thing. I don't know, but Zumbas are still very very popular, and the gentlemen who wear them are age appropriate for sure. To the Zumbas. Amin gives his Soya watch and then he trolls him in live streams.
My son will
Oh,
watch.
oh, 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 okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. My Taproot watch was a Zodiac Sea Dragon 7750 chrono. Z09913. Not bad. James says, I am childless, so I hope my niece will inherit my hobby. Dib has lost more money selling one watch than he took over any 5 watches when he started.
True. Like right now, like if you own a Grand Seiko, you're guaranteed to lose a lot of money. But you like what you like, you buy what you like.
Mhm. Is there any one watch when you were in the beginning, Chaz or Amin and Deb, uh, collecting that you no longer have that you just wish you had it back? Not necessarily that you'd buy it back, but that you wish that you had that watch back. Anything come to mind?
I have one, the SPB 089, the blue US Limited Alpinist. I had
Hmm.
that watch for 3 years, and then I sold it to a nice lady, to my surprise. It's good to have women in the hobby. That's the one watch I do miss, but I don't
Yeah.
think I'll ever buy it back. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything, guys? Anything comes to mind? I mean, for me, um, like I had mentioned that SAR 033, and now, like, I had bought it twice. I sold it twice, obviously, and just for what it was, um, I thought it was a great looking watch, and I could wear it anywhere, and I really enjoyed wearing it. Um, but it was easy to sell, get in and out of that watch, right? And I think now there's a point where it's just the price of it is just it's not worth it for me to get back in it. But I do miss that watch. I do miss that watch. I mean, it's sporty. You can dress it up a little bit. Um, I think it was a cool watch, and I do wish I had that back. But there's definitely been some watch regrets that I've had, but I'm just trying to focus on the watches that I had early in the collection when I started collecting, and that's one I definitely want back. Um, yeah. Um, Chris is saying he should have never sold his 035, his Sarb 035. Bobby Legs loves watching, but could you love a watch enough to buy it 4 times? Hmm. I don't know.
I bought the Sarbo 334 times, and I've sold
Yeah.
it all 4 times.
Yeah.
Again, like I have Grand Seiko. Why do I need a Seiko? I mean,
Hmm. Hmm.
the SLA diver that I have, definitely a better diver than any of the Grand Seikos out there. It fits my wrist very well. If Grand Seiko were to make a 40 millimeter diver, yes, I'd have that. But the divers are usually bigger than what my wrist can accommodate. So, you know,
Detroit Spartan is on the hunt for an SPB 071 Dib. What is that one? What watch is that one?
it's the same watch you have with the blacked out dial. What was it called? 63 mass Paddy. So the one which came
Hmm.
before the 62 mass, like the previous release. I don't know how to describe it. It had a blue fume dial. Not fume, but close enough.
Yes.
Unfortunately, when you look up the watch, the first person that you will see is random knob. Oh, sorry, Rob. You know.
Okay. Oh, Dib's got to get that one in there. Um,
Yeah.
so Paul saying the 035 is so Cape Codded, it's now chrome and it's got a shoulderless spring back stuck in it.
He
Thank
has a
God.
he has a broken down Ultima.
Okay.
You just equate that to that.
Oh, okay. Uh, Joey B, he's got a watch that he could buy 4 times. His Explorer 2.
Two for
Um,
two.
yeah. Bruno saying, I wish I kept my LL Bean Hamilton automatic field watch from 1991. 36 millimeter and rare today. Uh, Patty Diver with a blue gradient dial. Thanks, Kevin. Um, Chris saying, believe it or not, I missed my Squale 1521. Maybe a rebuy again for the third time. Hey, Mr. Jones is here. I missed my Seiko 777, but it got no wrist time when I got my SRPF 79. Kendra, never understood the Casio craze. Chaz, you have a whole lot of G-Shocks, don't you? Or had?
Love G-Shocks.
Yeah.
Love G-Shocks. Still do. I still
Yeah.
have. I have too many. Love G-Shock. I think I'm. I love all
Mm,
about G-Shock. In
yeah.
fact, daylight saving time morning. The watch I got to put on was one of my multi-band um, squares, titanium
Yeah.
squares.
Yeah.
Yeah, it already has everything. I didn't have to set anything. Didn't have to
Isn't that
set
great?
any time forward. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just convenient. Always good, comfortable watch. Good looking watch. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
G-Shock fan.
G-Shocks are so easy, especially when you're in the beginning of your collection journey, right?
Yeah,
They're just so easy to add, um,
right.
and also very easy to get carried away with.
Yeah,
I certainly,
yeah.
I think at one point I may have had 10 G-Shocks in my collection, which I know for some is like just scratching the surface, but I mean like it was a lot of G-Shocks. Yeah,
They're like rabbits. They multiply.
they do. James is still big on JDM Seiko's honeymoon with my SARW005. Yeah, James, I can identify. I go in and out of honeymoons. That's why I'm selling a bunch now. That titanium square with all the nerdy text on it is so cool. Probably my fave G-Shock that Chaz has. G-Shock, Wu-Tang G-Shock looks so good. I missed out. I guess I didn't get selected for the recent limited release on that one. Um, Mrs. Legs would have been very, very happy to receive that as a gift, but I guess not. I guess that's not happening. Um, yeah, so what else, guys? We got a few minutes left. Amin, you got anything going on?
It's a watch I'm thinking about getting.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was doing too while you were talking. I was looking at gold and platinum JLCs,
Uh,
reversals.
Uh,
mine's not so fancy.
what are you thinking now, Amin? What's the flavor for today?
I showed you this, Rob. This is just Bell and Ross.
Oh yeah, go Amin, go. Says the intern.
I like it. It's
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
when you wind it's hand winding, and the skull laughs while you're winding it. It's different. I dig it.
That strap is hot.
Yeah.
The strap is good.
So what's going on at the 12 o'clock position? Is what's going on up there? Is that the
The
what?
intern says no. No. What's going on at 12 o'clock? It's just a open heart.
Oh, okay.
It's a balance
Okay.
wheel. Yeah.
Capital letters. Nope. Exclamation point from Kevin S. Hell no. Engineer wannabe. No. Still toxic. You haven't, Kevin S. You have enough toy watches,
See, I
Amin.
don't think I have enough toy watches.
Good night, Chris.
See you, Chris.
I like the guilloche on the case.
Yeah, it is
I love
Geisha in
it.
the case.
I love it. That's a statement piece. Statement is you're a douchebag, but why not? People already think I am. So I'm like, all right,
It's
get
giant.
into this
I
kid.
think it's like 46, 45
Yeah.
square. Square wears bigger, right? So this thing is like it's a definite statement piece.
Uh,
I think the mouth opens up. I don't remember what's the mechanism. Like the mouth of the skeleton opens up and closes up. Now,
Yeah, it does, and it's a in-house movement that they created for this watch. It's shaped actually. Look at this. You see the movement? Skull shaped,
okay,
hand winding movement.
okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that they
that's
made
pretty
for
cool.
this. And it looks good on leather too, I think.
Yeah, certainly does.
Let's see. Look at that guilloche on that case. It's a
Sure.
little bit of a ripoff maybe of the Urwerk T-Rex, but the case.
Novelty watches 9. Face watch sub
I like
collection.
it. I might get it.
Looks like looks like a dentist watch. I might get it. That's okay. I would not wear that during my 30 years of riding a Harley, but buy what you like, they say. BJ not liking that. How do you pass on that rose gold Arnold and Son and consider this one? Oh, it's a Johnny Depp watch.
Heart wants what it wants.
Johnny Depp watch.
100%. I mean, come on. That watch might be hideous to some, but it is cool to many.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's what you like. I know it's cliche, but I started out with, buy what you like, and I'm that's where I'm at.
You've
That's one
about
of
talked the intern into this one. Watch.
I'm
You about talked him into it.
I was
You
gonna give a rationale, but Joe shut me down before such a sick burn. That, I'm keeping all my sentences to 16 words or less.
I mean, Johnny Depp watch really got me, KR Joy. I got to tell you. That's fucking funny, man. Whew. Thomas Burnett, if you enjoy the chat in the stream, consider clicking. Thanks, Thomas. Join and becoming a Bobby Legs member. Great chat on Discord. Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate that plug. Thank you.
Still a watch goal of mine to buy one on your stream, Rob. At someday.
I think
was
maybe
This
we
was
can
close.
coordinate. I think maybe we can coordinate that, and then one day the two of us we can play dueling watch buying. I'm up for that. I mean, it might be a while, but I'm up for that. Okay, you got my interest back. Maybe. The intern changing? I'll buy you black eyeshadow to match the watch. He's serious. He did the research. Hey, the screws light up. Is that true? Ed
Screws
Hardy
line up.
watch. Oh, line up. Okay. Ed Hardy watch. That skull was smoking a cigarette. I'm sold. Getting mad respect from mom and from Paul there.
It's not supposed to be a serious watch. You know what I mean?
It's not,
Yeah. One of the themes they say is that it's a life is short. We're all gonna die kind of watch, and as you wind it, you see the skull laughing. That's not a serious watch.
No, tell me that's not cool. Like the mount is. It's like the MDNF bulldog. People are willing to line up. They're paying 120 grand. Like the mouth opens up on the bulldog. So skull. It's a cool piece.
I think it's cool. It's giant though. It's giant. It's makes me my wrists look like Sanjay wrists.
Battle of the Bots with that azimuth watch. Hey, Steve,
You know what
how are
would go
you?
good with that skull watch?
What's that?
Amin, do you have any leather chaps? That would really. You get a set of leathers, that watch would be smoking.
What's a chap? Leather what? Leather.
Yeah, you put them on over your jeans, or if you just want to go, hardcore, just chaps only.
Like David Lee Roth.
Yeah.
Anyway, Amin, would you let Philip buy that watch?
I would. Yeah, I mean, if Philip had money, I would let him buy that watch. Especially if he had his own money, I would totally let him buy that watch.
Mr. Godiva said, I have Corn Bubble Watch, Baywatch Limited Edition. I like different watches as well. I think Wolfie has a suit to match that watch. Now that you mention it. Caliber 8, I'm feeling much better about my Ladybug watch. Paul, he thinks it's a fun watch. It's not for him, but he loves that it exists. Man. Leather chaps, now you're talking. If you go chaps, you go assless.
So let me ask you this, and again, I'm not brave enough like Amin to follow with my own words. When was the last time you looked at a Rolex and like, that watch has whimsy? Never.
That's
Yeah,
true. Yeah.
fair point.
Yeah. Fair point. Fair point. Okay. Well, um, that was a lot of fun, guys. I gotta
Hey,
admit.
Rob, I need to get
Oh yeah,
this
yeah,
in.
yeah,
My
yeah,
appearance tonight was sponsored by Amin Cell Straps.
yeah.
We have a spring special.
Okay.
If you use the code Beaver Float, you'll get 25% off. So just wanted to put that out there in case
So silly.
anybody's in the market for a new strap.
Oh, so silly. Oh, there it is. Yeah, yeah. No, that's. Oh, yeah, yeah. Ha 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 ha.
Nice,
It's laughing. Yeah.
nice.
Well, I mean, it's probably worth it for that, right? Um,
Here, one more.
sure. Ooh. Okay. I get.
I think
Yeah.
it's cool.
Yeah.
Oh
Very,
yeah.
very cool. Okay, you can put it away. Yeah, there you go. I love your collection and I love your taste, Amin. It's super fun.
Don't ever change, man. Don't
Don't
ever
ever
change.
change, man. You're like our yin to our yang. So we need you out there. You and the intern. Dib, Chaz, Amin, thank you so much for coming tonight and discussing today's topic. I love hearing origin stories, right? Especially when it comes to collecting watches. It's such a fun time. Um, Chat, you guys are great. Thank you so much for your contribution. As always, you make the show. Stay tuned because Friday we have another stream at the Bobby Legs channel. And we'll go over some new releases and whatnot in anticipation of what's going to happen in Watches and Wonders in about a week or two. And then don't forget on Sunday to catch Watch Soup with engineer wannabe Sanjay and Watchdog podcast Clayton. We do it every Sunday. Having a great time, and we actually, if you guys don't know, this past Sunday's episode is now available on Spotify as a podcast, and hopefully in other platforms like iTunes and whatnot coming soon. So you don't now have to watch and drive, watch Soup. You can just watch and listen, and or drive and listen. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Have a great night, and see you on Friday. Take care.
Yep.